Good day. In the previous session, we have seen effective technical writing for developing a research proposal, and this is the re- review of earlier lecture. What is research proposal? Then what it consists of, or what are the essential ingredients of it? What should it contain in cover pages, in main contents, and in each of the main content, what is required is discussed. Introduction, literature, aims, objectives, design methodologies, and then budget, appendices, appendices and citations. Now we will see one sample example of a research proposal which is submitted in one of the funding agencies to the one of the funding agencies. This is not clear, it is a image, but we will try to just go through the structure of it. If you start, if you see a pro forma for submitting R&D project proposal for seeking financial support, and see here firstly you need to give the title of that project, then the organization, address, then legal status of that particular, then who is the chief investigator. Some places it is chief investigator, some places it is principal investigator, that person designation, its department, the address of that person, then name of the project, you can put it here. Oh sorry, nature of the project, it is basic R&D or research and development or patent, some product development like that. And then you need to give the objectives of that project, so you can see here to study the existing technical tools. Similarly, 5 objectives are defined. Then next is brief about that particular project, and then expected outcomes of that particular project, and agency with which link up to the establishment of proposed system. So those things you can mention here. Then duration of the project, whatever proposed project is there, how much duration you want that thing in terms of months or in years, you can put, and year wise breakup of whatever achievements or budget you can specify here. Then likely end users, who are the end users of that particular project, or who to whom it is beneficial, that thing you can mention. Then next, total budget, so here you can see 150 lakhs. So how that 150 lakhs is divided, 65 and 65 lakhs in first year, 85 lakhs in the second year, and what are the components of that head, budget head, are given here. And so this is one thing. Now if you come to the next pages of that proposal, additional information required related to you. Then main part comes here, details of the proposal. Part 1, background information. So you mention again the title, chief investigator or principal investigator, co-investigator, co-PI or PI, then brief biodata of PI and co-PIs, and details of each you can attach as separate annexure file, like project title, funding agencies, brief project of earlier any projects, if any earlier project is sanctioned, so that details you can give. Then similarly, infrastructure and other facilities are available, so related to that facility information you can provide from your home organization. Then if is there any collaborative agency or organization with which you are working, that details you need to give. That is the part one, that is background. Now part two is technical information. So you can list down the scope of the project, detailed description of the project, and how you are going to divide your 2 year work, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and so on. So you can give here details. Phase 4, so 2 years work is divided in 4 pages. Then need and forecast the urgency of that particular project, or what are the possibilities, those things you can mention in description or in detail. Then other details which are given in that particular format, one need to fill. So here I think existing solutions or existing, what are the existing systems of same topic, those things are you need to mention. Then necessity of similar work being is there or not, specific regarding information regarding specific uh, requirements, those things you can put here. Detailed chart, PERT or bar chart attached in the form of annexure, that is timeline you can attach. Then part 3 is related to financial or budget, and here you can see yearly breakup, capital equipments, consultancy, and travel and testing, consumables, and overheads if any. So like that, year 1, year 2 breakups are given and total amount is represented. So 65 lakhs and 85 lakhs, 150 lakhs, and subsystems within this breakup, these are again given here in this, that is related to the capital equipments. That is 30 plus 20 uh, lakhs, how these are divided and what are the components of it, these are mentioned here. Then manpower details, that is here manpower, that is uh, maybe some scholars or research fellows you need, and monthly stipend of you are giving 25,000, and such two candidates if you are taking, that means 6 lakhs for 1 year, 6 lakhs for another year, like this you can mention. Then cipher, you may need experts, you may need help of some of the consultancy agencies, project managers, assistants, all those you can put in this manpower details. So this is about the finance requirement or financial details, and you can see here how these are given in detail. Now the last one is detailed bar chart for the project management. That is, whatever 2 year project is there, how you are divided, you need to give those sub points, and with month, like here 1 to 24, 2 years project it is. So therefore, at in first 2 months what work you are going to do, then next 3 months what you are doing, at the same time parallelly what other works you are doing. So all these things are given in this Gantt chart or project management chart. So likewise, any proposal consists of background information, technical information, financial details, and timeline details. So some other sample charts also. Here is another proposal. Okay, this is the proposal structure actually. And how it starts. So in the introduction, what is the major research problem? How this study's topic is related to the problem, and what methods must be used to analyze this problem, why this research is important, what is its significance, and why to care about the outcomes of the study. All this should be mentioned in this introduction chapter or introduction part of that particular proposal. That is background of, then at the same time you do the literature review, that is background of the study. So about that particular research area, research topic, present scenario, present state of art of present state of research in that particular topic. Then if the research is about an industry, kindly do the specific about that particular industry or particular application. Then elaborate more on the statistics or statistics. So this background study one needs to carry out. Then do the review of literature. So here you start with the concept definitions, then different theories proposed by different authors, researchers. Then what are the other related works in that particular field from the other researchers or from the research community. Once literature is done, you identify the gap and then define your objectives and then write your contributions. And while doing that, you need to do the problem statement. So you can refer these three questions like what is present issue of our business problem, then why has no one approached this problem till now, or what might be the issue, then why is the present research novel, how it is novel or how it is new, and how it is different from the existing methods. Those things you need to identify. Next comes research aims and objectives. So give 4 to 5 aims and objectives. Just now we have seen in one sample form that 5 objectives were written. So similarly, you can frame 4 to 5 objectives. Then convert these objectives into research questions. That is the next step. Convert those questions into research questions and then go for the what is the scope and significance of that particular those 4 5 points or 4 point objectives, and you can answer these questions like what is the scope of present research, what industry or segment will be covered in this particular research questions, what will be the implications. After that, operational definitions, that is key operational definitions need to be covered. What thing you are going to do or what are your main workings or operations or design methodology. Before doing going to the methodology, you need to define this. And then comes the proposed methodology. So what is your research design methodology that we need to justify? So research design and justification, and what approaches you are going to do and how you are going to justify those approaches. Then what kind of sampling, population, how much you are taking data, from where you are collecting, and from that collected data, how you are going to using sampling techniques, and what will be your sample size. And while doing this all, you need to be ethically correct. So you need to be holding ethical considerations. So this is the next step. And then while doing this, you may have anticipated some hurdles, some limitations, and you must define those at the beginning. What are those boundaries or what are those limitations, or what parts will not be covered under this research, or what is the out of scope of this researcher. All these things you need to mention in the limitations, or you need to mention about the assumptions you have made during this methodology. After this, chapter scheme, that is what is the proposed chapter scheme. So how you are going to segregate all that work, like we have seen in the previous sample, that phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. So it is segregated. So similarly, how you can propose that chapters. And the last one is summary. So restate the purpose of this study and research questions. So what were your objectives? How those all objectives are addressed, and how you have verified the results, maybe through experimentation, simulations, or surveys. And also mention the potential applications of your findings, where it is applicable, or what contributions it is making to the literature or research community, that we need to mention. And if possible, you can also give the future scope or future possible future problem statements, that also you can give in the form of summary. And the last one is references or bibliography. So while doing all these things, whatever resources are used, utilized, either for technical work or for getting the results, as well as while preparing this proposal, one need to give credit to all such sources. So a reference is a link to a specific paper, article, book, website, or anything which are supported, and it it must be included to avoid plagiarism. So this is a whole structure of a research proposal. You can easily see all the points we have discussed in the previous session or earlier also in the research design chapter. Everything is given in this small one page summary. So you can go through this and you will understand all the research design and research proposal structure. Now there are some general formats of various funding agencies. So we'll open one by one. You can see general information for the format. So for submission of project example for financial assistance device development program, DDP program, which is initiated by Government of India, Ministry of Science and Technology, under Department of Science and Technology, that is DSP program project. So here you can see the general information is given and what are the areas identified for the project proposals: analytical instruments, environmental monitoring, pollution control, laser based devices, food processing, taste measuring devices, geoscientific, agri, textile, sensors. These are the identified areas for submitting the proposals. And it has given who can submit: scientists, engineers, technologists working in universities and academic institutions, R&D institutions, or laboratories. So those all people can submit, eligible to submit. And next is what is the procedure for submitting that proposals is given here. So what things are required? Certificate from the investigator, that is one page format is given. Then endorsement from the head of institution on letterhead. So most of the times all these above mentioned research organizations have head. So one need to take the certificate or letter from the head of institution endorsing that particular proposal, and where you need to sign. Those things are mentioned. Points to be kept in mind while submitting project proposal: involvement of the industries. What is the role of that industry, or how it is involved in your proposed project? So those things you can mention. Project duration. This is very important. So generally this is time bound of 2 to 3 years, depending on the device or technologies to be developed. Then, if the government is funding, then it should be monitored, and then monitoring of the project is through progress reports, financial statements, committee of experts in group review meetings, and sometimes visits to those particular organizations. So that is how the monitoring of the project is carried out. And then there are some terms and conditions for while granting that proposal. You can read out this. This is under Department of Science and Technology, the DST. So here some definitions they have given based on conflict of interest or policies, then related to code of conduct, and then at the end declaration. So whatever uh, conflict of interest or code of conduct things are given, those things the investigator has to read, and then he or she has to declare that, or he or she has to give the consent of those things. Now these are the guidelines or notification, you would say. Now actual format for submission of the proposal: project title, so certificate from the investigation, that is project title, endorsement from the head of institution, certificate from the investigators, and copies of that particular proposals. So generally it is 3 to 11 pages. So you need to submit 3 proposals. Now this is the endorsement letter from the head of the institution. One need to mention your title, and then you need to the head of the institution you need to give the consent of that. So it is related to PI and other PI or co-PA, as well as related to technical part or part B. One need to mention here. Then the actual project summary, title, who is PI, then his details, contact details, then who is co-PI, that is co-principal investigator, then total cost, how much you are asking to complete the proposed research, how much duration you want, 18 months, 24 months, 30 months, 36 months. Do you require any manpower? If yes, then mention it here. If any equipments you are proposing through your proposal, that we need to mention. Is there any industry partner in your proposed work? If yes, then you need to give the details of that particular industry partner. If it is not there, then simply click no. Then what are your objectives of the proposed proposal? And then what are its outcomes or deliverables after ending this particular 3 years or 2 years of project? So that should be under deliverables. So once you give the details, then you fill out the budget details, that is whatever one if it is 2 years or 3 years, accordingly you need to fill. And in that, what are the things you need to take care? Salaries or wages of, if any, research fellow, if you are putting like manpower, you say two research scholars you want. So for 2 research scholars, what are the stipends yearly you are giving? Those things you can put here. Then total cost of the equipments which you are purchasing in first year and which you are purchasing in the second year. Those things you put here. Apart from the equipments, what are the consumables like wires, cables, battery, and etc. Those things you can put year-wise details. Are you doing any travel for completing the proposed work? It may be for testing purpose, or it may be related to the attending conferences or training programs or webinars to complete that work. So those things also you can put here, or you are publishing some presenting some international conferences, those things you can put here. Then contingencies and overhead expenses, those things you can put and give the total amount. So this is how you can give in detail budgets in, and it should be in lakhs. Now, the format for submission of project proposal. Part A is technical information, whether it is what is the title of it, then under which broad area it falls, like analytical devices, monitoring, pollution. We have seen on that website also. These are the things. So whether it is geoscientific or industrial instrumentation, you need to tick out that particular broader area. Then total cost you need to put here. Then duration, the organization of where you are conducting the research, details of PI and details of co-PIs, contact details of expert working in that subject or area. So you can give up to 10 persons or 10 researchers who have already worked on that, or the experts who are working on that particular topic. Then you need to give the who are the beneficiaries of your research work. So their details you can give here, and then summarize the project, or you can give abstract of the overall project within 150 words. That is the background information. Now part B is related to technical information, and in technical information you can start with the objectives of the project. So as mentioned earlier, 4 to 5 objectives you can define. Then what are the applications of that particular device or sensor which is taken for that particular development, who are the users, end users or agencies, or to whom it is going to get benefit, that details you need to mention. Then how much requirement is there, that is through different users or market survey you can identify what is the requirement of that particular proposed product. Then estimated cost of that particular device you can mention here, and cost of similar imported devices or cost of similar such existing devices you can put. Then where it is going to be produced, is there any agency or industry, and if no, then what facilities are available or at what institutions, those things we can put here. Then review of status and technology trends in respect of device or instrument to be taken up for the development. So here, whether it is international status of development or current status in our, what is the current status in our country, and review of expertise available with that particular proposed system, and what gaps to be covered through this proposed work. That those things we need to mention. Then related to the equipment, you can give technical details, features of that particular device or machines which is taken up for the development purpose. Then what will be the specification of that particular product. Do the comparison of with existing systems. Then what are the techniques or methods which are used. What is the operation, how the design is made, then diagrams, descriptions of each subsystems, everything, calibration, standardizations must be maintained. So all these things one need to ensure through the technical details. Then only the evaluation committee will be convinced. Then the work plan. So what methodologies you are putting, using, and how this work methodology is divided within the time span of your proposal. And you can give always the time schedule of the activities in terms of Gantt chart or project management chart. So you mention all the activities, milestones in that bar chart and time time frame. What are the facilities available at your organizations which are relevant or useful in implementing that particular project? And what are the new things you want to purchase through that proposal? Those things we can mention. So related to infrastructural facilities, do you have workshop, water, electricity, standby power supplies, then space for laboratories or furnitures, whether you need AC rooms or equipments, telecommunications, transportations, then what kind of supports is there, administrative or secretarial, is the library facility good, and computational facility, how it is there. So these two are important because in some of the institutes, some publication sites were not subscribed, so those things one need to take care, and those requirements the PI can send the request through the proposal or computational facilities. If high-end configuration computers are not available, one can purchase through this. Then what are the available equipment in or infrastructure in the existing organization? So those details you can give here. And what are the available manpower? So to complete that proposed system, if sufficient manpower is there, or if not, then uh, is there need of uh, recruitment, and or if the existing manpower is of area of that particular specialization is there or not. So those things can be considered, and then accordingly one can request. Then budget summary in lakhs. We have seen this in the earlier slide also. First year, second year, third year, and total. So maximum up to 3 years, these projects can be completed. And the items under budget are manpower, consumables, contingencies, then fabrication, testing, travel, then permanent equipment, overhead charges. All these things we can put in year wise. So total project you can put, then request for DST to grant, and partners contribution. If some industry is there as a partner, then what is their contribution, and how much you are required are requesting from the Department of Science and Technology. Those things we need to mention. And they have given some standard stipends for manpower requirement, like junior research fellow, then 25,000 plus HRA. If it is a senior research fellow, then 28,000 per month plus HRA as a stipend. If you require research associates category 1, research associate category 2 or 3, so the stipend varies accordingly. So these things can be considered while recruiting manpower. And what are the requirements or qualification for these? All the want manpower is given in detail. Apart from this, in travel and contingency, 50,000 each per annum will be provided for grant and contingency. Then in overhead, you can for project costing up to 1 crore, 10% of educational institution and NGOs, and 8% for laboratories. These things are comes under or falls under overheads. And again, that budget one need to give in detail, like how much manpower and stipend you need to give. So whether you have recruited junior research fellow, senior research fellow, or research associate, accordingly you to need to give their qualification, and what is the stipend per month, and how many number of persons in each category you are recruiting, and then total amount, and what is the role of their each individual manpower one need to mention. If your industry is collaborated with you, then what is the contribution of that part industry? That details one need to give. Then consumables details, consumable materials, relate partners contribution details one need to mention. Contingency costs, then outsourcing, fabrication and testing, patenting. Those costs can be put in this table. Then related to equipment, give the description whether it is foreign or indigenous, or how much cost is there. All those things you need to give and provide the justification of annexure. Like if suppose equipment is purchased, so what process you followed? Have you taken the quotations from at least 4 to 5 agencies, and then you have selected one from that? So all these details you need to justify in the annexure sheets. Then the last one is biodata of investigators, that is principal investigator or chairman investigator. Their details one need to mention, and their awards, publications, patents. If there is any earlier projects completed through the funding proposals, those things, those details should be given. So these kind of notifications generally give or come. So this is one format. If you see one sample again, another sample of DST. So here, study and analysis of lightweight, high-speed robot arms. And this is the endorsement letter from the head of institution. You can see at date, place, then sign and then certificate from the investigator, title, then he has to give consent, then number of copies, whatever he has prepared, that things we need to give. Then experts, some name and experts in that particular area field, give all the experts here. Then institutes of interest at that subject, give the details. So we'll just go through this, and you can see whatever format we have discussed, general format, the same thing is here. Project summary of maximum 150 words, that is abstract. What are the keywords? Then technical details. Definition of the problem. Objectives. You can see 6 objectives are there. And then review of the status in that particular field. What is the status at international level? What is the status at national level? How it is significant in the current status? Importance one need to mention. Then review of expertise available with the proposed investigation group. Those things one need to mention. If patenting or publication is done, all the details is given. Then the work plan. So what is the methodology? Literature survey, simulation, then experimental setup and study and comparison. So this is the work plan or methodology. Then how that is organized through the steps. Then how you are going to complete that within the time frame. So first 12 months, what you are going to do, and next 12 months, what you are doing. and next last 12 months you are concluding your completing your research work research uh, project. And budget, that is recurring budget, salaries, consumables, all these things year wise, the total. And then details, salaries are related to manpower here. So per month 13,300. So likewise 12 months are there. So total 1,59,600 for the second year and for the third year also. So and total it requires is 3,19,200. If you are taking research associate, then monthly stipend is this much, and it is for 3 years. Then you need to give justification of the manpower requirement. So you give the justification. Budget for consumable materials, give that details. Budget for travels, like if you applied for conferences or international conferences, you can avail those facilities from this. This is only for inland travel means within the nation. So this is the maximum amount per year. Other costs and contingencies. Then some specific costs. So these two machines or equipment have been imported, then their amount and how much it is used, that is given, all the costs, and then the time schedule. It is a 3 year project, so total how it is divided, that is given through literature review, staff recruitment, computer upgradation, flexible analysis, experimentation, validation, report. So finally, your research project ends with the project and presentations. Now, what facilities is being extended or available facilities, those things you can mention. Then what are the equipments available with the parent institute, those things you can mention. And the lastly, details of the principal investigator and his experience. Then the achievements, honors of the PI, memberships and other activities. And then what are the publication, journal, patenting, all those information can be attached. Similarly, details of the co-PIs and what are the projects they have implemented, PI and co-PI, that thing given. That should be given. Being implemented or submitted. Those things also one need to give. These two are DST proposals. Similarly, SCRB proposal is also there. You can see one proposal which comes under SCRB funding, that is Science and Engineering Research Board. This is actual report. We'll just go through this. You can see approval letter received from the SCRB division to the PI. and they have recommended the following budget. So they can take one GRF and this much amount of equipment amount, consumable amount, and other travel and contingency as per the norms one can avail. And here the details report is given by this. This is completed project and what were the objectives, keywords, expected outcomes, and the schedule in over the 36 months. So how it is divided and what are those points are given here. Then budget details in detail, endorsement letter, that is certificate from the head of institution, what are the objectives, and this is objective status of the project. So this will be that is nothing with the monitoring. So every year or every 6 months the monitoring will be done and accordingly one need to submit that status of the project report. See under preparation and all this one. So while doing this, what is your outcome or deliverable? So you can say that they have published papers on their research proposal work. So under this work they have two students who have done their PhD work. So that is also given. So this is the science and engineering research board proposal. So some of the common mistakes one need to avoid while uh, writing the research proposal. Otherwise, it will give rejection rates. So what are those? Stay to the point. So proposals sometimes are very descriptive, long, unnecessary description is given. So while writing the proposal, stay up to the point. Make your document concise and specific, and do not diverge into off-topic discussions. This is one mistake generally it is seen. Second one is taking up too much research time. So it is the one reason to get the proposal rejected. So whenever you are giving proposals, stick to the time and give proper planned Gantt chart or project management chart in detail so that the evaluation committee will be convinced. So too much time is also not good. So if you are giving 2 years, then give it with all appropriate milestones and steps over the period of 2 years. Then leaving out significant works. So whatever works you have defined, it should be feasible and there should be practicability. Then only the committee will sanction it. Otherwise, you should get a rejection letter. And for that purpose, literature review is very important. And some of the topics are too rarely discussed and too much attention is paid to minor details. To persuasively argue for a study, proposals should focus on just a few key research questions. And minor details should be noted but should not overshadow the thesis. So focus should be given on the key research questions. And many a times the proposals are not supported with the arguments, adequate arguments or proper evidences. So it must outline its purpose, what is the importance or why it is important. Those arguments with evidences must be there in the proposal. Then try to avoid typographical errors or bad grammars and sloppy styles of English or sloppy technical writing. So these things or these mistakes must be avoided so that your proposals get sanctioned. Now, there are some funding agencies. You can directly go on these links. So this is a AICT funding website, and you can see a number of research funding proposals you can submit through this India-centric research funds. Atomic Energy Regulation Board, Department of Atomic Energy, Indian Council for Agriculture Research, then Council of Medical Research. All these are the different funding agencies under AICT. Then next is DST. I think we have seen enough examples from this. It is Department of Science and Technology, and you can see call for proposals. And this is the last month we have given on title, and you can apply up to 10th August. So, and detailed notifications are also attached here. Call for project proposal under technological development program. This is up to 30th June. So all these proposals you can find out on the DST website. Then India Science and Technology.gov.in. Here also you'll find some of the funding agencies where you can submit your proposals with relevant topics: water disaster management, proposals under empowerment and equity opportunities, many more. Then ICSSR is another organization. These are just few we are looking at. Indian Council for Social Science Research, and you can find out the attachments or formats of the proposal related documents. And general guidelines for research projects and research programs are mentioned here. Then there are some major and minor projects also. Here is one PDF where it gives list of funding agencies for research proposals. So Ministry of Environment and Forest, Forest Research Institute, this DST we have seen just now, DA, Atomic Energy, Biotechnology. See here, plenty of government funding agencies are available. MODROPS, that is Scheme for Modernization and Renewal of Obsolescence in Technical Education. So this is for the private colleges. You can modernize your laboratories through this scheme. So through these proposals, this comes under AICT again. Then R&D under AICT, CSS, CSIR funding, Indian National Science Academy, then National Academy of Agricultural Science. See around 66 Indian funding agencies or government funding agencies are available. Apart from that, then Indian collaboration with other nations is also possible. That is through international. Also, you can submit your proposals. So this list and every details, contact details or detail information you can find out from the websites or through mail IDs. Or you can also find out through these websites also. So first one is DST, SCRB, CRG, CSIR, NBHM, then Asian India Collaborative R&D Scheme, Abdul Kalam Innovation National Fellowship, TIFR research, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Then what are the research grants? All these things directly one can go to that particular website. Now these are related with the funding agencies and related to writing. So one last point is that is related to research proposal presentations. So we'll see in the next lecture.